Hey, Kevin here, Mr. DIY Dork, and today I want to show you how we're making our plywood plank flooring. And I actually got this idea from a site, I think it was called Pickley, it might be Pickley Creations, or I don't remember exactly the name of it, but this lady has a really cool store where she sells a lot of like whitewashed, beachy looking refurbished furniture and upcycled and all that kind of stuff. And it's actually something I do on the side too, but I just do like one piece at a time. She has a whole store. But anyway, she had really cool flooring that she did that was going to last like forever. And what she used was 1/2-inch plywood. So that's exactly what we're doing. So you can see here, I have a big pile. This is about 25 sheets of 1/2-inch thick, 4 foot by 8 foot plywood. This is the cheap stuff at the store. Now, it's not the, $15 garbage plywood at the store. This is the really good, less than $20 stuff. Now, actually, this is still pretty junky stuff too, but that's exactly the point. It's supposed to look old and beat up and all that kind of stuff. Actually, this is probably the cheapest 1/2 inch you can get. I think the stuff that's 15 bucks was like 3/8 or something, or 1/4 inch. And if you get good plywood, you can spend 70 bucks a sheet. This was cheap. I got a rebate. I don't know. It was like $16.50 a sheet, something like that. So it's pretty cheap. But anyway, we have a pile of 25 here, and then over there, what I'm working on, I've already done. That's roughly 25 sheets over there, and I've sanded those there. I'm sanding that one. These are in waiting, and those I'm not sure about yet. But anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna, once I sand them, then we're gonna slice them into 8-inch strips. And of course the last one's gonna be, since it's 48 inches and the saw blade takes up a little bit width, the last one's not gonna quite be 8 inches. So we'll probably use it on the edge of the floors where it has to get trimmed anyway. But anyway, if you look at it, it has printing on it. You can kind of see some numbers here, and it has some splits and cracks, and it has like a really rough texture. And that's exactly what we want, actually. I want to kind of give it a, real old sort of Wild West general store looking flooring, and even a little bit, because of the whitewashed and the really light wood, kind of a Scandinavian look also with the big wide planks. And actually, I probably haven't even mentioned this yet. We bought a barn house, and it has the slanted ceilings, and it goes straight up, and then it slants again, and it does the same thing on the other side. It's like a monitor barn style. And you can also tell that we did Luan ceilings. We're going to do board and batten up there, and of course it's going to get painted white, and then it's kind of batten strips, 3-inch strips at all the joints, and then split them, so it'll basically be 4x4 foot squares on the ceilings. And then we're also doing the floors, and then all the walls have to get painted and all that stuff. But right now, I'm doing the flooring. And what I wanted to show you was that, I have the giant pile here. Well, it's not giant anymore now, it's over there. We're sanding it here. I'm using this old school looking flooring sander, which is actually working really good. It has 3 round pads on the bottom, or 80 grit. That's all I'm using. I'm not using any, this is like considered the fine grit of all the grits that they had. And I'm just running it on there. It takes about maybe 2 minutes per sheet. That's it. I've already done a whole bunch in probably less than an hour. And of course I have sheets over there. I'm not sure which side I'm going to do just yet, but it doesn't take long at all to sand these. And then you can kind of see here, it has that golden hue to it, like plywood you see at the store. And then over here, it's a lot lighter. And then of course we're going to whitewash it, and it'll be even more washed out. But the reason I'm using that huge flooring sander is because it does make it super easy. Plus I can just, roll it out of the way over there, take a sheet, slide it over here, 2 minutes done, bam, put it over here. Then we can cut it and finish it and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, on the ceiling, we're doing board and batten. So I cut a whole bunch of batten strips out of some particle board because it's really straight and pretty smooth. And I have about 160 3-inch strips right here that we cut out of 4x8 sheets, just like the plywood over there. It took forever. Then what happened is I sanded it, and I just sanded it by hand with my little crappy, it's like a generic palm sander, and I probably have about 12 or 13 hours just on sanding just the edges. Not even the face or anything, just literally the corners and the very side edges. And it took forever, and I thought, I'm not doing this anymore, so I'm just gonna go rent for like 50 bucks. The sander, so it's going really quick. So anyway, I'll go ahead, I'll sand this piece, and I'll show you how we trim it and whitewash it and install it and all that good stuff, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So check this out. I thought I'd also go ahead and add
how many sheets of plywood you'll actually need for your job, what you want to do is figure out the square footage that you're going to be covering and divide it by 32, because a sheet of plywood is 32 square feet. So let's say you're doing 1,100 square feet. You want to divide that by 32, which will give you a little more than 34 sheets. So to cover yourself, in case you get cracks or an ugly piece or you mess up, I'd buy about 35 to 37 sheets, and that should be plenty to do it. All right, so then once you have all your plywood sheets, I recommend getting a flooring sander to sand them all. The one I got, it was only about $50 for a 2.5 hour rental, which was plenty of time to bring it back from the store, sand all the sheets. It only took about a minute or two each, and then return it. And like I said earlier, I used 80 grit sanding discs on the bottom, and it made it really easy and quick. After all your sheets are sanded, what you want to do is get a partner and set up your table saw to cut your planks to whatever width that you want. I personally set mine to 8 inches, and on each sheet of plywood that gave me 5 8-inch planks and 1 plank that was 7.5 inches wide. And what I did was the 8-inch planks made up most of the floor, and then the pieces that were 7.5 inches wide, we installed them against the walls where they might have to get trimmed down a little bit smaller, or like inside closets and that type of thing where you wouldn't even see them.
All right, so now it's a couple hours later, and we got all those boards cut to 8-inch width, and then there's a pile of them that are, it's about 7.5 inches wide. So anyway, here's the pile. Whole bunch of them here. And then what I gotta do is, I totally forgot about this, but these edges are pretty sharp now, so I'm gonna take my little sander, and we actually have 2 of them so we can both do it. And we're just gonna quickly go over the corners and just slightly round them off, so that way when they're finally installed and we're walking around, the little bit of gap between them, your feet won't get pinched in there, or your socks get snagged or whatever, so let's have a little bit of a rounded corner. But yeah, it took a little while. I built this little table extension here so that we could balance the board on there a little bit better. And then I got a giant pile here. We just measured it a while ago. It's about 9 inches deep of sawdust, so I had to clean that up. But anyway, it'll probably be a couple days. I'm gonna sand this, and then we're gonna go ahead and paint walls and ceiling, get all that done before we mess with the floor anymore, because all the sawdust everywhere. So we want this all clean, and then we're gonna whitewash these. And I'll show you how to do that, and then how to install them, and then put polyurethane, all that good stuff. So anyway, that's what we got done today, sanding and cutting.